Hey everyone, welcome back. Last week, Tucker Carlson went on a bit of a rant about Fox News taking him off the air, claiming that the company had violated his First Amendment rights. And this talking point has become a pretty common trope among right-wing circles whenever someone gets banned from social media, fired from their job, sued for libel or defamation, or otherwise held accountable for the things that they say. And whenever this talking point comes up, it always reminds me of this clip from The Princess Bride.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
The reason I always think of this clip is that anybody who's actually read the First Amendment would know that people like Tucker Carlson are using it incorrectly. The First Amendment begins with the phrase, "Congress shall make no law." So if you're ever wondering, are my First Amendment rights being violated? Ask yourself, is Congress, or as it has been interpreted more broadly, the government, doing something to affect me? And if it's not the government who's taken action against you, then your First Amendment rights haven't been violated, because the First Amendment only protects you from the government, not from any private entity. So if they're not talking about the actual First Amendment, what are they talking about? Generally speaking, I find they're trying to discuss the broader philosophical principle of free speech, which boils down to you are allowed to have your thoughts, feelings, opinions, and should be allowed to communicate them. But they even get that wrong because they usually only want it for themselves and not for anybody else. Take Tucker Carlson, for instance. He says that Fox News stripped him of his freedom of speech because they're no longer letting him on the air, despite the fact that obviously he's still able to get his message out and still able to communicate. Meanwhile, he's saying that Fox shouldn't be able to say that it feels that Tucker Carlson is no longer an asset to the company and therefore they don't want to put him on the air. A bit of a double standard. The biggest target for this talking point is social media companies, but what a lot of these people forget is that when they created their account, they checked that box that says, "I agree to the terms and conditions." And when you do that, you are signing a contract between yourself and the social media company, with the agreement being that you will be given access to their service, but that there's a list of things that you are not allowed to use their service for, and if you do that, you will be banned. A lot of really common things are no committing crimes, no hate speech, no incitement of violence, but companies have some pretty wide leeway as to what they can put into the terms and conditions. Truth Social has a clause that says you can be banned if you talk negatively about Truth Social on Truth Social. And as long as you are not violating any specific anti-discrimination laws, there's really no end to it. Elon Musk could wake up tomorrow and decide that he only wants Twitter to be accessible to people with Teslas. Would it be dumb? Absolutely, but he could set the terms and conditions to be that. And when these conservatives complain about being banned, when you look back, usually, yeah, they have violated the terms and conditions. So the company has every right to terminate their accounts. And while they go on and say, "Oh, my freedom of speech has been compromised," generally speaking, they're doing it on another social media platform. So, no. They haven't lost their ability to communicate their ideas. And even if they got banned from every social media platform, there are still ways that they could get their ideas out there if they wanted to. They could create their own website. They could send out emails en masse. They could send out physical letters. They could grab a literal megaphone and go down to the street corner and keep screaming, "The end is nigh, repent." So, if this isn't a First Amendment issue, and these people really don't seem to want true free speech, what is it they actually want? Simply put, they want freedom from the consequences of their speech. They want to be able to go out and say whatever hateful, bigoted, or even defamatory things that they want and not suffer for it. I think my favorite example of this was the incident that happened in Charlottesville, where a whole bunch of neo-Nazis and other white supremacists came out to protest the removal of Confederate statue. Now, there were tons of videos of this posted online, and the internet being the internet, a lot of the people at that rally were identified, and that information was forwarded to their employers. And a lot of employers, when they found out that their employees were neo-Nazis, didn't approve of that. And they called people and said, "Jenkins, I found out that you're a neo-Nazi. You're fired." And then all those people who got fired for being neo-Nazis said, "Hey, my freedom of speech has been violated." But it wasn't. You were able to go out and say that, yes, you're a neo-Nazi, and to chant, "Jews will not replace us." But at the end of the day, people are going to respond to the speech like that. And they're going to respond in ways that you may not like. Like your boss saying, you're no longer working here because I do not support neo-Nazism, and I don't want a neo-Nazi working for me. And that's his free speech. And so, while I know that there are people out there who are very adamant about free speech, and I believe that freedom of speech is very important, that's not what people like Tucker Carlson and all these other people who are complaining about their First Amendment rights being violated really want. They just want to be able to do whatever they want and suffer no consequences. And unfortunately, that's just not how things work. Think about it.